The Vision High School Sports Beat is brought to you by the 11 locally owned Vision Automotive Group dealerships, offering Buick GMC, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, Hyundai, Kia, and Nissan, and the resale division, with locations in Webster, Henrietta, Penfield, Fairport, Canandaigua, Ontario, and Palmyra, and online at visionauto.com. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. This is the Vision High School Sports Beat. I'm Bill Pucko. Every week at this time we take a comprehensive look at sports in Section 5 in Monroe County and begin with our honor roll of high school teams. At number 3 this week, Bishop Kearney girls basketball. It's one of the best and off to a 3-0 start. Sharing the wealth. In their win over Williamsville South, the Lady Kings got 14 points each from Mariana Freeman, Kaya Good, and Allure Simmons. At number 2, Gates Chi-Li boys basketball. The Spartans won their first 2 out of the gate. Keith Slack scored 33 against Monroe and then hit an overtime game-winning 3 to beat Victor. And at number 1, Canandaigua hockey. The 4-0 Braves beat Brighton ER in overtime on an Alex Burley goal. Burley has 5 goals and 3 assists already this year. Recruitment of high school football players into college programs is a never-ending process, and it's a two-way street. Section 5 is doing well by its own. High school football season is over, at least the on-the-field game. The champions have been crowned, awards have been presented, scholarships offered in the most extreme cases. Many high school football players have performed in their final game. But the guys who show up here at the 18th annual Section 5 College Football Recruiting Night aren't quite ready to give up the game.
Just looking for any place to play because just miss football already, you know.
Have you got any leads? I mean, there's some pretty good schools here. Anything impressed you?
Yeah, well, Brockport, they're still playing, so, you know, that's impressive. You know, well, they're all good schools, so.
I like Fisher, Utica. Both coaches have been very nice.
So what's the pitch that kind of gets your attention? What do they say to you that says, you know what, I like that?
The opportunity to play. I want to go where that an offense that like suits my skills, likes to pass. Yeah.
You're a little bit late in the process. Is this a good way to try to catch up?
It is. You can always come here, a bunch of different coaches, Empire 8, and see what they have to offer.
This two-way recruiting event began as a meet and greet in the Greece Olympia High School Gymnasium. It has expanded its scope as both sides began to recognize its inherent value. The roster of college participants includes the likes of St. John Fisher, Brockport, and Ithaca, but also Hartwick, Mansfield, Pace, Worcester, and Grove City, a school from the Pittsburgh area.
So when we recruit a young man, we look in 4 areas. Those 4 areas are being spiritually, socially, mentally, and physically. So when we look at a young man, of course, we're going to see academics first and foremost, and then we're just going to see how we recruit that young man from there based on those 4 areas. We've had a lot of success here in the past years having young men from this event come and visit Grove City College. Our starting running back, visited here, and he started as a true freshman for us, and now as a sophomore doing great things for our program.
SUNY Brockport, a National Division III football semifinalist this year, has become an even more popular destination.
I think Brockport's always been a name, and the success certainly helps. We've gotten a lot of media coverage since we went to the playoffs, since really we won the Empire 8 championship. So a lot of people are coming up, and I'm saying, hey, we're in the Final Four, we're going to Texas. And they go, yeah, we know, we've been following you. So that's been nice. And, obviously we've done a great job recruiting Section 5. And it's our backyard, and we want to make sure this is a primary target for us. So, yeah, it's been nice.
Ramel Williams and his mother, Shanda, are looking for a fit that combines football with a journalism degree.
I like how the schools are from around New York State just come and talk to the kids and, help around Section 5 and bring more attention to us.
Yeah, what are you expecting to get out of this? I mean, ideally, it would be nice to leave here knowing you'd want to go there, but in a more general sense, is there something you're trying to take out of this group?
Yeah, we don't get a lot of attention as athletes from Section 5, so we need, we have a ton of athletes, so just the attention and this being at a convention center really helps some of us that need it.
I'm a little afraid because I only have one kid, so I'm kind of losing my baby, but I'm happy for him and I want him to succeed and do well.
Kristen Fulton had Wilson assistant coach Ron Cavuto help guide him through the process.
I just want to expose our kids to what's out there in terms of colleges and if they have an interest in playing college football, and just to show them a lot of local colleges and what's out there for them, and just get the conversation going, get them a little acclimated to actually what college life would be, and just talking to some of the coaches.
Yeah, which is probably, if you don't mind my saying, more significant to bring a city school kid into an event like this than it might be for somebody in the county.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's the exposure of what's actually out there, and whether it's more local or a little bit further away, that they have all these opportunities with them, and to continue a pursuit in football as well with the academics and trying to get a good fit.
Having a vision of your future helps.
It's a couple of schools that I haven't even heard of before. I just talked to Mansfield, and they're in the Sprint League. It's something I never heard of, so it's a whole bunch of new stuff that I'm just starting to realize today.
And yet, that could happen, right? I mean, you come in here, you haven't heard of the school, and you can wind up there.
Right. That's what I was thinking. So when I came here today, I'm just thinking maybe there's just stuff I haven't seen before, other schools. Maybe they'll show interest in me. So it's a good program. I like it.
Cool. What do you want to get out of college?
I just want a great experience. I want it to be just something different, maybe away from home. I want to be able to play football on the team, just have a great experience, have fun, learn, and everything.
That was it. It's like a crossfit. Yeah, that's right. And right after that, corner post.
Coming up, the Northstar basketball Twins and their championship legacy. And next, Pick and Splinter's Paul Gotham and our Dunkin' Donuts High School notebook. When the Vision High School Sports Beat continues.
$1.99 hot chocolate at Dunkin'? That's like a big, yummy hug. So hug it up. Hug more. Hug large. Hug medium? Hug that. Live the hug life with $1.99 medium or larger hot chocolate. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back to the Vision High School Sports Beat. It is time now for our Dunkin' Donuts High School notebook, and happy to be joined once again by Paul Gotham from PickandSplinters.com. Paul, what's up on the site these days?
We're full-fledged into the high school basketball season and college basketball season, so we have full coverage there and more Matt Traybold column work there on the site. Great first couple of articles from Matt. He really given a lot.
What's he talking about?
He's talking about all the different players. He does a great job previewing games and letting people know before they walk into the gym what's interesting and what they should be watching for.
Cool. Matt, of course, we know him from Channel 13. And look, we had our first real heavyweight matchup, I think, of the season. We had you playing Greece Athena, and you were there. What did you take away from that?
The seamlessness of Greece Athena and the transition. You bring in two transfers, Christian Jones and Johnny Salone. You bring those two in, and they just fit right in. And Mike Setzer, second-year coach at Greece Athena, has done a really good job getting those kids to play together. And here's the interesting thing. Nigel Scantlebury scores 28 points in that game. The next game out, Christian Jones scores 39. To me, that's a sign of a really good team where they can find the guy each night instead of one guy trying to be the guy every night. We saw it last year with Irondequoit. Zach Stenglein, there were times people thought, well, Zach had an off night. No, it was because defenses adjusted to him and he decided to become a facilitator. And that's the same thing that Greece Athena is doing early on here. You know, Athena was going to be good anyway, and that's just like, this kid falls out of the sky. It transferred from Memphis, and he's a great ball handler, and he's a kid who can score from the outside, score from the inside. So that gives them that with Pat Meisenzahl and Nigel, those three guards out on the perimeter, defenses, you have to account for each and every one of them because each and every one of them can do multiple things on the floor at the same time.
If you had to compare them right now, and Irondequoit and even Sutherland's in that mix, the different classes. But if you're looking at Athena and Irondequoit as sort of the standard right now, do you like one more than the other early on?
I haven't had a chance to see Irondequoit yet. We'll see them soon.
But you know all the players.
I know all the players. That's January 31st is when those two meet. I don't want to get too far ahead, but that's going to be interesting. I still like Irondequoit because of their strength inside. Patrick Thomas and Gerald Drumgoole can do a lot in the paint, and I'm sure that Greece Athena is now taking that to task.
I'm putting you on the spot. Do you know where that game is? January 31st?
It's at Athena, and I hope the fire inspector takes a night off so that everybody can get into that place.
Well, it'd be good to get them excited. Because again, as good as some of these high school basketball teams are, with few exceptions, depending on the matchup, they don't get overflow crowds an awful lot.
And they should. And they should. Another overflow crowd will be in the first week of January when Fairport, Scott Fitch's group, goes over to the Eagles Nest on Cooper Road and visits Irondequoit. That should be a great game. Fairport, 2 games, they hit 13 threes in both of the games, and Scott Fitch, he just moves from one group to the next and finds their strengths and figures out how to make them their best.
That's a bit of a surprise, because, he graduated, whoever said his top 9 players were seniors. They're all gone, and he still doesn't lose.
And not only does he not lose, but he's blowing teams out. and that's just a sign of how good of a coach he is. I don't know if everybody realizes how good of an asset he is for our area, and that he's on the national team. He's an assistant coach with the national team, and he's right here in Section 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul Gotham, PickandSplinters.com. Thank you very much. Our guest on the Dunkin' Donuts High School Notebook. Coming up, we salute our Wegmans Making the Grade nominee with Kim, and later, like father, like sons at Northstar, when the Vision High School Sports Beat continues.
Welcome back, and thank you for watching the Vision High School Sports Beat. I'm Kim Burnson. It's time now for Making the Grade, brought to you by Wegmans. Wegmans is a proud supporter of Making the Grade, which highlights the accomplishment of Section 5 student athletes on and off the playing field.
This week, Elena Costco is our Making the Grade honoree. Elena is a junior at Greece Athena High School and leads by example in the hallways. She's had herself quite a swimming season. She set a new school record in her event at a recent diving competition and placed 3rd overall at the Monroe County Diving Championship. Not only is she successful on the diving board, but Elena is an exceptional student as well. She has a schedule loaded with advanced placement classes and still works hard enough to maintain a 99% average. According to her varsity coach, Elena is all you can ask for in a student athlete. She is dedicated and serves as a great role model for her teammates and peers. She is just starting her college search, but should have plenty of options in the future. Nominated for her bright outlook in the classroom and in the pool, this week, Elena Costco is Making the Grade.
If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. You can send them in to info@classywolf.com. Now here's Bill with the Section 5 calendar.
Here's the Section 5 calendar for the week ahead. In boys basketball, Wilson leads the RCAC for a test at Rush Henrietta on Monday, games at 7:15. On Friday, a little Rainbow Classic action. The annual Pittsford Mendon versus Pittsford Sutherland game is at the Palestra, the U of R at 8 o'clock. That follows the girls' match, which tips off at 6. Same teams at the U of R Friday night, and they're all pretty good. Indoor track Friday night. The Central Division is at RIT. The West Division competes at SUNY Brockport. Both meets start at 6. And a pretty attractive dual wrestling match with some of the area's best. It's Penfield at Hilton, Wednesday at 6:30. That's the Section 5 calendar for the week ahead. Coming up, our honor roll of athletes. And 31 years later, Michael Brown's boys are Section 5 champions 2. When the Vision High School Sports Beat continues. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. This is the Vision High School Sports Beat. I'm Bill Pucko. Time now to check our honor roll of high school athletes. Number 3 this week, Samuel Roach of the Pittsburgh boys swim team put his name up on the Rush Henrietta board, setting a pool record in the 200 freestyle. Number 2, Kristen Jones, a newcomer to the Rochester area, playing ball at Greece Athena. Jones scored 39 in a win over Brighton, connecting on 6 3-pointers. The Trojans are 3-0. And at number 1, a new Section 5 track and field record holder, Andrew Palermo of Spencerport in the weight throw. The new record is 68 feet 7 inches. The Brown brothers, twins actually, are second-generation Section 5 basketball champions. Like father, like sons. Last year brought a basketball season dominated by great teams and great players. The greatest, at least in terms of scoring, is back. He is Miles Brown, a 28 points per game player for Northstar Christian.
Yeah, I try to get my team involved first and then myself, but in order for our team to win, then I'm going to do what it takes, whether that be scoring or rebounding or assisting.
He's such a team player. He's led us in assists the last 2 years. He shoots 60% from the field, so he never takes a bad shot, so I don't object to him shooting at all. He actually, believe it or not, he is a pass-first guy, even though he scores so many points.
Miles plays alongside his twin brother, Michael Jr., under the watchful eye of assistant coach Michael Brown, Sr. Miles is the better basketball player. Mike is the better football player, applying his talents on a combined team at Finney. Dad, a one-time basketball star himself, doesn't differentiate.
Well, Mike is a very unique kid in the fact that he likes a lot of different things, from videography to football as well as basketball. So he's a man of many interests. I think at the same time he plays a very valuable role in our team in terms of how he plays defensively and how he plays selfless basketball. So I think he accepts his role. I think he has a lot more capability offensively, even though Miles gets all the recognition and most of the points. But I continue to encourage him, and he's coming along as well.
He's always been really good, and both of us playing with each other, we always make each other better. And just as we progressed, as we moved along and we played high school basketball, he just got even better, and so he's been just scoring a lot now.
Yeah, he says he's glad he doesn't have to play against you because you're a pretty good defender. You kind of feel the same way about him?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, I play pretty good defense, and he also does, yeah. So when we play against each other, it's very competitive, like I said, and it's just good basketball.
Was it fun growing up together being such good basketball players?
Yes, it was really fun. I know all his moves by now. We've been playing each other since we were born, and it's just really fun.
So that way, are you glad you don't have to play against him?
He's a really good defender, and it's a lot harder to get by him now than it was when I was 8 years old.
The three Browns share the Section 5 championship experience. The twins played starring roles in the Knights' back-to-back Class C crowns over the last 2 years. Father Mike dominated on Wilson's 1986 championship squad.
Well, I think that if you want to distinguish yourself from the pack, if you will, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing different than other players? Whether it be spending extra time shooting, whether it be watching film, whether it be actually listening to the things that coaches are sharing with you and figuring how can I implement in my game? And then hopefully they could take a few things from what the old man says from time to time. That's helpful as well. But, it's a process. They're juniors now, and we've been at it for a long time, not only with these two, but also my daughter, Michaela. And so I think we're starting to reap some of the benefits, and it's been a fun ride.
Despite his gaudy scoring numbers, Brown averaged 28 along with 5.5 assists per game last year as a sophomore. He is not a one-man show at Northstar.
Well, to accommodate the rest of the guys, we really play a high-tempo game. Last year, we averaged 81 points a game. So, although we have a main scorer in Miles, there's still lots of points out there for guys to grab.
One of the guys grabbing points is senior captain Matthew Medeiros, a three-point specialist who averaged 13 points per game.
Yeah, there's always enough to do, whether it be on rebounding, defense. We're all doing a job, and we all have our jobs, and we know what we're supposed to do. And just going off what they have, we're one team, and we do it together. So.
And then, especially in a Christian school education, there is the bigger picture to consider.
In the context of team, I try to tell them they're uniquely gifted, and whatever role you can play on the team, that's what you should do to try to make the team better. And also just to recognize, it is a gift. You have to work hard as well, but just to have that mind frame.
Yeah, in that sense, sports is a valuable vehicle then for a school like this, don't you think?
It absolutely is. I try to teach them, it's beyond basketball. We'll take a break in the action to, teach a life lesson if it's applicable, because I think sports is a great venue to do that.
Where to dig your feet in. Good job.
Miles Brown scored a season-high 38. Brother Mike had 8 assists in a win over Corning. The Northstar Knights are 3-0. We would like to thank our sponsors, especially the 11 dealerships of the Vision Automotive Group. They make the Sports Beat possible, as do you. Thanks once again for watching. We'll see you next week with the Vision High School Sports Beat.